Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm making one of the most delicious meals on the planet, and that is Birria Tacos. The first thing you want to do is basically get all of your chilies out. So these dried chilies are actually quite difficult to find in store in the UK, apart from the ancho chilies. The rest I basically got on Amazon. I will leave a link to everything down below. But the first thing that you want to do is basically just de-seed them. So when removing the seeds from these, try your best to basically keep them as whole as possible. This is because you're going to cook all of these chilies in the broth and then remove it from the broth and blend it up. So if you break it down too finely, then it'll be difficult to fish them all out. So I'm just soaking this in boiling water now, so that it can rehydrate and get rid of any sort of bitterness. So next you're going to want to peel an onion. So I have a pretty large one here. Before I start cooking everything, I'm just going to show you my meat selection here. So I have about 1 kilo of oxtails, I have 1 kilo of short ribs and 1 kilo of beef shins. So we're going to start off by browning these just to develop the flavour of the broth. See that flavour right there. So now that I've browned all of the meat, you can see at the bottom of the pan, you can see there's a lot of fond. This is flavour, so keep this. Next in the pot, you want to add some whole black peppers with coriander seeds, just to basically toast them off a little bit. And then we're going to add some cinnamon sticks and some bay leaves. Then here I have a whole bulb of garlic. And then we're going to add the onions. So at this point we can add the meat back into the pot. And then next we want to add about 2 liters of water. I'm going to add some dried oregano, and I'm also going to add some tomato puree, and then I'm going to add 4 of these rich beef stock cubes. I'm actually thinking about it, this pot is probably too small for what I'm making here, but we move. This recipe is quite easy. You just put everything in a pot, let it cook for a long time, and you're good. The only extra thing that we did was basically just cook the beef and brown it a little bit to develop the flavour. So what we're going to do now is basically bring this to a boil and then let it cook for about 30 minutes. I'm going to remove the chilies from the broth now. So I'm just going to add some of the broth to the chilies that I've removed. So you want to add as much broth as you need to basically get it going. So now that this is nice and smooth, we're going to add it back to the broth. Because I'm using a pressure cooker, I'm going to let this go for about 1.5 hours. But if you're not using a pressure cooker, you probably want to cook this for about 3 hours or until the meat is really tender. Hey guys, welcome back. So it's been about 1 hour. With this pressure cooker, it was overflowing a little bit, so I had to remove some of the liquid. But here we are, it's been 1 hour and I felt that the meat is tender enough to basically stop the cooking process. So I'm just going to remove the meat from the broth. So it should be tender enough to basically just shake off like that. You can see how tender that is. It just breaks apart. Chop this up to however fine you want. I like a mixture of both really finely chopped and some chunky pieces. So this is the bone marrow. It's basically really soft. But it was in there, it shrunk. So with the broth you can strain it to get rid of all of the little bits, but ain't no big got time for that. Make sure you taste for seasoning and adjust accordingly. So the next step is my favorite step, is to actually make the queso tacos. So here I have a little tortilla wrap, and all you need to do is basically just dip it in your consomme. Put a generous amount of your shredded beef, and then you also want to add some cheese to that. So here I'm using a mix of mozzarella and cheddar cheese. I find that is, a good balance of saltiness and stringiness. So now you just want to close that. Basically you want to cook this until the outside becomes crispy. and of course when the cheese is melted as well. Because we have a layer of oil on top of our broth, when you dip it in, it coats the tortilla wrap, and that basically allows it to crisp up. So these are the queso tacos, but we're not done yet. We need to make the consomme. Finely dice some white onions. And then we'll also add some coriander. And now you want to top that off with the onions and the coriander. You know what time it is? We're finally done. It's taste test time. Here I have some consomme, and here is one of the queso tacos. Crispy. That is so, oh my god. This plus this is perfection. So when I eat it, I like to soak it in the juice so that it's basically dripping. That is so good. So that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is delicious. One of my favorite meals. It's like the correct balance of meatiness and then juiciness and flavor, just all. Let me know what you guys thought of this recipe, and if you guys do try it out, let me know what you think. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.